global warming. It's a hoax.
Global warming is a manufactured crisis. Global warming, and that movement is run by hacks and frauds. Global warming, it is a scam.
Chilling report on climate change suggesting we are heading into a mini ice age.
It has not warmed over the last 10 years. I truly believe, you folks know this, that I believe the long-term climate is turning colder over the next 20 to 30 years.
And yet Obama, the genius, went to Harvard, lawyer. He believes in global warming.
But they have a political agenda behind global warming, and it is more government, more spending, less freedom.
Global warming schmuck on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Here, schmuck, genius, PhD, moron, lawyer. Here it is, schmuck. You ready for it?
New York is colder than it's been in decades. The Earth is actually cooling as best as we can tell, but we're not 100% sure. So the science is really a joke.
The Earth, as I have just explained, is cooling. It has been cooling since 1997. It has not warmed.
That there has been no significant warming since 1995. No statistically significant warming since 1995. Just doing the math in my head, that's 15 years. 15 years, that's weird. Doesn't that go all the way back to when Al Gore was just a dull vice president and not a dull atmospheric scientist / Nobel Prize winning / climate profiteer? Yeah, I think it does. 1995. And Jones also admits there's been a slight global cooling since 2002.
So global cooling is actually a cause of drought in California, which, by the way, is a dry climate naturally. And to prove to you that the globe is actually cooling, if you look at the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, their forecast was for temperatures to go up, up, up. And over the last 10 years, you can see in an up and down manner, they are coming down. So there's no question about the fact that at least over the last 10 years, it's cooling.
Okay. Why is the global warming movement so successful throughout the world?
Well, I think people haven't been confronted with the facts.
For a variety of reasons, one of which is the science is bad, and it's in great dispute.
Do you believe that there is no such thing as global warming? You think that's trumped up by people out there who want to get on the green agenda?
Well, I'm old enough to remember, Brian, that when people were predicting there was going to be the next ice age. So there is climate change. There's always been climate change. But until recently, people were worried as much about global cooling.
I haven't seen anything yet, and because you now are predicting that there is global cooling taking place.
Yeah, we are just past the peak of a world temperature rise, and we are now falling, and it's going to carry on falling in general for the next 25 years.
What the heck is going on there? Fully 70% of the globe is colder than normal.
We haven't seen any net change in temperature for about 12 years now. That's right. We had a warming that began in about 1977 and ended somewhere in late 1997, and it hasn't been seen since.
No significant warming since 1995.
carbon dioxide? Let's just go to a fundamental question. Carbon dioxide, Mr. Speaker, is a natural byproduct of nature. Carbon dioxide is natural. It occurs in Earth. It is a part of the regular life cycle of Earth. In fact, life on planet Earth can't even exist without carbon dioxide. So necessary is it to human life, to animal life, to plant life, to the oceans, to the vegetation that's on the earth, to the fowl that flies in the air, portrayed as harmful. But there isn't even one study that can be produced that shows that carbon dioxide is a harmful gas. There isn't one such study because carbon dioxide is not a harmful gas. It is a harmless
they want to
gas.
tax each car. The Seattle Post-Intelligencer reported last week the government wants to put a transponder in every car and tax us. And if you complain, well, it's for the earth.
Yeah. Oh, and the children. Don't forget the children.
Exactly. It's for the children.
Here's one for all of you schmucks who believe that man caused global warming. Okay, schmucks? You hyper-educated morons, here it comes. You don't like what I'm saying? Good. Listen to what I'm going to say to you. Answer this question. Show how smart you are. You're all smart in your drawing rooms there on the Upper East Side, but when you get around someone like me, you fall apart. That's why you don't want anyone like me around you. That's why Gordon Brown doesn't want me in England, because I could devastate him verbally. I could crush them with 3 sentences.
Wow. Well, now back in reality land where people don't heal planets, we just face the truth.
All right, the ClimateGate scandal that is sweeping some of the world's most prestigious research institutions has officially reached Al Gore's doorstep. Now, he has canceled his plans to speak at the Copenhagen summit next week, news which conference planners say they received with, quote, great disappointment. And not only that, 2 members of the Academy of Motion Pictures are now calling on the vanquished vice president to return his Oscar. Now, they say the Academy Award, which Gore was awarded in 2007 for An Inconvenient Truth, well, it made him a rich man, but that the ClimateGate scandal shows, as many incidents before have, that the movie was founded on junk science. Not only that, but the movie's doomsday message exposes Gore for the hypocrite that he is. Now, Al Gore may want you to bike to work every day, but this video, which we showed you 2 years ago, yes, that shows him getting off his private jet and into a big gas-guzzling town car. Oh, and then, of course, there's Gore's supposedly green mansion, which, according to a 2008 estimate from the Tennessee Center for Policy Research, consumes far more energy than the average American home. As a matter of fact, 20 times what you use in a year, he uses in a month. And don't forget his houseboat. Yes, he owns a custom-made houseboat that he's dubbed BioSolar One. Now, the Powerline blog computed that you'd have to drive 975 miles farther from Chicago to New York to emit the same amount of fuel that Gore's green houseboat uses in a single day. And that doesn't count, by the way, the jet ski that he has perched on the back. So it's safe to say that ClimateGate has revealed that global warming and that movement is run by hacks and frauds. And given that Al Gore personifies the movement, maybe that shouldn't come as any surprise. But the political fallout from this scandal, well, that's just beginning. The head of the UN's International Panel on Climate Change is calling for an investigation on the subject, and GOP lawmakers, well, they want the same.
We don't always see eye to eye, do we, Newt?
No, but we do agree our country must take action to address climate change.
We need cleaner forms of energy, and we need them fast.
What is the Republican plan to deal with carbon emissions, which every major scientific organization has said is contributing to climate change?
George, the idea that carbon dioxide is a carcinogen that is harmful to our environment is almost comical. Every time we exhale carbon dioxide. Every cow in the world, you know, when they do what they do, you've got more carbon dioxide. And so I think
so you don't
it's
believe
clear we've
greenhouse
had
gases
climate
are a
change
problem
over the
and are
last 100
creating
years.
climate change?
Listen, it's clear we've had change in our climate. The question is, how much does man have to do with it? And what is the proper way to deal with this? We can't do it alone as one nation. If we got India, China, and other industrialized countries not working with us, all we're going to do is ship millions of American jobs overseas.
But it sounds like from what you're saying that you don't believe that the Republicans need to come up with a plan to control carbon emissions. You're suggesting it's not that big of a problem, even though the scientific consensus is that
I think it is
has
an issue. The
contributed to
question
climate
is,
change.
what is the proper answer and the responsible answer?
And what is the answer? That's what I'm trying to get at.
George, I think everyone in America is looking for the proper answer. We don't want to raise taxes $1.5 to $2 trillion like the administration is proposing, and we don't want to ship millions of American jobs overseas. And so we've got to find ways to work toward this solution to this problem without risking the future for our kids and grandkids.
So you are committed to coming up with a plan?
I think you'll see a plan from us.
We have that going on, and there are people that stand to earn a tremendous amount of money by doing nothing more than buying and selling carbon credits.
Well, it's the carbon credits, it's cap and trade, but they're talking about regulators in your house for adding new windows or when you buy a home, social workers literally over all the farms and ranches. I mean, just a reign of government terror, basically communism, but run by the big corporations where they administer it all.
If the public knew what they want, they're calling for a radically new economic system. They're calling for global governance. Folks, that's one world government. I'm not a nutbag here. This is what they're calling for in this paper.
But nonetheless, eventually we'll realize that there is no global warming of significance, and we'll have the last laugh.
You know, 1/5 of Americans in major studies can't find the U.S. on a map. 80% of high school graduates don't know who the vice president is. I think they're getting away with this hoax because the public literally is in la-la land.
Well, I think they are, and there are a couple things that are driving the hoax. One of them is that there are some scientists, and they are not, I repeat, not the majority, who are committed to the idea that global warming, A, is happening, and B, that we are responsible. There are some, and the media have turned it into quite a frenzy, but there is also a huge amount of money driving this scenario.
Many world leaders and UN climate experts believe that climate change is the most pressing issue of our time.
Climate change is coming in a much faster speed and much more devastating power than we ever thought.
The dangers are even bigger than we thought from climate change.
If we don't act now, we risk catastrophic changes to our climate, causing destabilizing conflicts.
Our home, Earth, is in danger.
And the Environmental Protection Agency now wants to regulate greenhouse gas emissions, that is, carbon dioxide, as pollution under the Clean Air Act, a move the U.S. Chamber of Commerce warns could cost the American economy $1.5 trillion and 2 million jobs. EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson calls climate change a matter of life and death, But what if the Earth was no longer warming, but cooling?
When there are no sunspots, the sun is cold, and that is one of the reasons that we haven't seen warming for the past 12 years or so.
No warming? Dr. Patrick Michaels is the former Virginia State climatologist.
It may take quite some time for global warming to resume again. We haven't seen any net change in temperature for about 12 years now. That's right. We had a warming that began in about 1977 and ended somewhere in late 1997, and it hasn't been seen since. I think most scientists and economists would agree that a moderate warming would probably be beneficial, and a cooling of a couple degrees would probably be very, very bad.
By the way, when you have global cooling and global warming, what do you have? Climate change. It's also called weather.